What is up, guys? PoliticsGaming here, and today we are returning back to the United States of America. Why am I restarting this series? Well, there is a couple of reasons why I needed to go ahead and kind of like not really restart it, but we're just kind of rebooting it around the start of the beginning of the Biden administration. So there's a couple of reasons why. So for one, the first reason is because the other save kind of tried to bug out. So I kind of tried to do a recording about this before, and I actually was about in the year 2023, except around that time my own personal save, I had to use, like, instead of the one that I was using before on the last episode, which was like the midterm episode. Basically what had happened there, after I started to record that, it kind of bugged out on me. So one reason was because of bugs, and then the second reason, again, it's because of the beginning of the Biden administration. President Biden has finally gotten into office. If you've seen my new intro, I hope you guys like that intro. By the way, please leave a like for that intro if you guys liked it. But Biden is now president of the United States. The last time that I recorded that in the midterm episode, President Trump was still in office, and he, you know, the whole Capitol riot happened. A lot has happened since I recorded the last episode of the United States. So we're gonna go ahead and kind of start anew, and we're going to be doing this. We're gonna be starting from the ground as President Biden is doing right now. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to sign as many executive orders as President Biden because ironically, President Biden has signed like 30 executive orders since he's gotten into office. I mean, he's been in office, what, 10 days, and he's already signed like more executive orders in his first 10 days in office since like any of his predecessors. So that's interesting to see that President Biden is definitely using his executive authority. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of President Biden using that executive authority unilaterally, mostly? So please leave your thoughts about that in the comments below. All right, first off, we're going to be looking at the analysis of the United States right now. We're going to be looking at our financial situation, and it looks like that we need to form a government. So we're going to go ahead and do this manually. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through this, but I'm going to try to appoint people that are appropriate for the job. There's going to be a couple of them that you're going to look at and go like, well, that kind of wouldn't work, but I'll go ahead and explain why after this. Alright, and we are back. This is going to be the cabinet of President Biden, or at least whatever the hell his name is, Baden. We're going to call him Baden, I guess. This is going to be the cabinet of President Biden. There's a couple of them that honestly, they don't have the character models for him yet. We would have to see that in the 2021 edition. But like the Secretary of the Treasury, we have a Secretary of the Treasury right now, which is under the name of Janet Yellen. Janet Yellen was actually the chair of the Federal Reserve from like 2009 to 2015, 2017, I think. So I wanted to put a woman, I guess preferably a white woman, I guess, since Janet Yellen is a little white woman and the Secretary of the Treasury. She's actually the first female Secretary of the Treasury, so we'll go ahead and appoint a female Secretary of the Treasury. Some of the ones that Biden has already had confirmed, I've already kind of like put them in. Obviously, Kamala Harris is the vice president, but that is not something that we can see yet. So I just thought it would be appropriate, and this was actually suggested to me in the first episode of the United States. Whenever on the first episode of the United States with Biden, I should have put Kamala Harris as the attorney general. So and this actually was a lot of people's minds before Biden actually selected her as his vice president. So it kind of seems appropriate. She's an attorney general. She was the attorney general of the state of California. So yeah, it kind of explains itself why I would appoint Kamala Harris as the attorney general of the United States. Secretary of Transport is going to be my boy Pete Buttigieg. Is actually Bigbridge. But Pete Buttigieg is going to be Secretary of Treasury, and I think Biden still has yet to appoint Buttigieg as the Secretary of Treasury. I actually haven't heard anything about that yet. Secretary of Defense is going to be John Jackson in Power and Revolution, 63 years old. But again, unfortunately, we did not have the same character model, so I thought, former Secretary of Homeland Security in this game, I could actually appoint him as Secretary of Defense. So again, it kind of makes sense, but I'm just kind of like playing with the cards that I have on the table in this game. So enough explaining about my cabinet. Let's go ahead and start working on the United States of America. Let's go ahead and look at the currency situation. Currency situation 1.79%. I think something that we could do. No, I think I'm going to be waiting a couple of months. We need to maybe let the game play for about a couple of weeks. And once we can let the game play for a couple of weeks, it kind of like gets a handle on itself. It's kind of like starting a car or something like that. We're going to be implementing a lot of policies that I've talked about on the economic guide. This is going to be the first episode that I've made since the economic guide came out. So again, if you have not watched that video, please go and watch the economic guide. It's full of information, memes. It's wonderful work from Gabe Vogel. If you have not subscribed to Gabe Vogel, definitely do go and consider subscribing to him if you have not. He helped me out with that economic guide, and it came out beautifully. So definitely, again, do consider watching that video. I also made a lot of Everson quality content memes, so if you have not watched those, please go and watch those if you want a little bit more entertainment off of this channel. Let's look at energy. Look at our energy situation right now. We have a surplus of 263 terawatts of electricity. Let's go ahead and invest. We're going to be investing some into $13 billion. Let's go ahead and invest into nuclear power plants. So we're going to be doing 2 of these, $65 billion. It's a lot of money that we're spending at the beginning of this game, but is going to hold off an inevitable situation with power outages and the like. So we need to watch our energy situation and keep tabs on it. So massive investments into nuclear energy are the best way to go. Another thing that I'm actually going to do right on the onset of this game, we're going to go ahead and pause it right here. We're on January 20th, so I think it's around time that we actually start making some policy, ironically on the day that Joe Biden was supposed to get elected. Let's go ahead and nationalize the third generation nuclear power plant sector. It's going to be a little bit difficult for us, but I think we can do it if we do a television address. Let's go ahead and hit that. Yep, that will help us out. So we have the support. So we need to go ahead and nationalize that fully. The reason I'm nationalizing that is, and I kind of explain it in the economic guide, we have a volcanic eruption in Iceland. We're going to be looking at that situation in a second. But the reason that I'm nationalizing it is because it brings in a lot of money as you grow that sector, because the United States consumes a lot of electricity. So the reason that you should nationalize it is because of the profits that you get off of that sector can go above $100 billion. So that's $100 billion that you could have just pumping into your economy directly. So we need to, it's a strategic sector that will help us out in the long run. And then also we can kind of micromanage it. And I like micromanaging energy to the point to where I don't mind nationalizing a lot of these energy sectors and micromanaging them. Let's go over to taxation. Look at this. So I think we could get the employer social security payment down to about 15%. And then we can lower the employee social security payments to about 7%. The company tax, Biden would increase that, and he wants to increase that, but I'm not going to be doing that. We're going to be lowering it to ensure that we can promote as much growth as possible. And I've actually taken I'm taking a step from the games that I had before. I think that I lowered it to the point to where I caused so much growth at that point that it kind of screwed things up. So we're going to be gradually lowering the company tax by about 1% per year. That is going to be one of the biggest goals. I think we're going to get it to 15% by 2025. And I'm really going to stick to that. We're not going to be lowering it by several percent at one time. And Republicans are going to love doing that. I think we're going to have to do it maybe like 1.25%. Possibly, I'm going to have to do the math, and I'm going to have that math by the next episode. The deficit is going to be another thing, and to offset the amount of growth that we're going to be making, we're going to do this. We're going to be creating a value-added tax. The value-added tax basically is an indirect tax on consumption. Again, if you have not, if you want more detail on this, go watch the economic guide. We go into detail about it. The reason that I'm doing the value-added tax is because the value-added tax stops consumption. So the amount of growth that you're getting, that is uncontrollable. So ways that you can control that are to increase the taxes that you have. The value-added tax is going to be the most direct way that I'm going to be able to offset the amount of growth that I'm going to be getting from the lower company taxes and subsidies that I'm going to be pumping into agriculture and industrial sectors. And then that's going to, it's kind of like a tit for tat, I guess, in the economy. So we're going to not create that yet. Once I actually start lowering the taxes and increasing the amount of subsidies that we have, that's whenever I'm going to go after that consumption tax. And we're going to very gradually increase that as we lower taxes. All right, let's go ahead and check this volcanic eruption in Iceland. 81 people have lost their lives. Let's go ahead and send over $5 million to that. So let's go ahead and let's go over to agriculture, and then we're going to give these guys $100 million in subsidies each. This is going to give us just more growth, and then I always subsidize agriculture because it's to offset a famine. I'm going to go ahead and decrease the amount of subsidies that I'm giving to the cannabis sector by about $50 million. We're only going to be giving them about $50 million, and then I'm going to go to we're going to go to no, I think we're going to go ahead and leave the alcohol sectors as they are. So we're going to go ahead and subsidize these. Okay, not the liquor sector. We're going to give the liquor sector $5 million in subsidies. And then the wine sector, we're going to give about $20 million in subsidies. We're going to leave that there. Tobacco, we're going to give 0 subsidies. So we're going to lower that to 0, and then we're going to leave that there. We do not want to give any support to the tobacco industry. They cause enough problems already, so we are going to have a very anti-tobacco stance. And I think I think we're also going to be representing that policy through taxation as well. So in the next episode, I think we are going to do something to alleviate and pressure the tobacco industry, maybe into bankruptcy. Maybe we can do that. I don't know. Exonerate. We're not going to exonerate. We're going to go through, and I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this here, and we will exonerate the food sectors as you guys watch. Alright, and we are back. We went through and I exonerated and adjusted some subsidies to certain sectors. So if you actually look, we exonerated apples, bananas, beef, beer, well actually not beer, cereals, cocoa, coffee, basically any sector that that contributes to food. So another sector that I'm actually going to look at right here before we go away is I'm going to go ahead and give $1 billion worth of subsidies over to colza. Colza is going to be extremely important in the future because it is going to help us offset the amount of dependency that we have on fuel and gas. This is actually contributes directly to the fuel sector, which is colza contributes to something known as biofuel. I think I've talked about this in several episodes before, so I won't go into detail about it. But yeah, we are going to be concentrating a lot into colza. Organic farming, we're going to go ahead and give them 1 additional star. And that will increase our expenditure by about $5 billion, but it is going to help us in the future. Adjust the degree of nationalization, and Nancy Pelosi says, good start. For our first bill, it is a success. Congratulations, Mr. President. You have succeeded in coaxing the House of Representatives into an agreement. That is awesome to see that the House of Representatives gets behind our decision to nationalize the nuclear sector. We also need to consider our nationalizing the nuclear electricity sector. Because we have about 59 plants active right now, so we need to see. It looks like that this sector collapses at the beginning of the game. Look at the sales. Look at the sales, and the profits seem to be going down just because and I think it's because of like the amount of electricity that they're producing. I mean, they're not producing the same amount. They're not producing 21.8 terawatts worth of electricity per facility. They're producing like way less than that. So I think that's the reason why the nuclear electricity sector collapses, especially as the United States. We could nationalize it, but it's going to cost a lot of money, $657 billion if we wanted to nationalize it fully. Fuel, we're going to be looking at that in the future, but it should be growing over the next couple of years. Thank you for taking care of ecology. You're welcome. So we're gonna go ahead and see this, and we are now at the month of February, and we have been recording for long enough. So I'll go ahead and call this episode quits for now. I'll go ahead and leave it to you guys. Go ahead and tell me what you thought about this episode in the comments below. I do apologize if it kind of looks weird that I'm kind of like, restarting this series out of nowhere. Again, the reason that I'm doing it is because, for one, Biden just got into office, like, actually, and then two, it's also because the other save was kind of bugged. So we're going to try to see if I can lead through this gameplay without any problems. Probably, I just want to get at least into the year maybe 2025, and I'm going to try to be recording often enough to where I can get to that point. So definitely do watch out for more episodes of the United States. So again, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go and subscribe to Gabe Vogel if you have not, and take care.